Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first lecture for this Introduction to Statistics course. We will be covering section 1.1, which can be found in our guided note module, which can be found in Canvas, or you can purchase it at the bookstore. But let's get started on section 1.1, and that is definitions of statistics, probability, and key terms. Okay, so then the learning objectives within this section, not the chapter overall, but within this section, will be develop your understanding of what is statistics, develop your understanding of what is probability, and recognize and differentiate between key terms. Okay, so those are our main objectives for 1.1. So let's get started on basically what is statistics. So what is statistics? The science of statistics deals with collection, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data. Okay, so what does this sentence really mean? So what this sentence really means is, let me zoom in a bit. So to assist in making effective decisions. Okay, I think I spelled effective wrong. Making effective decisions. Okay, so that's what basically statistics wants from us. It just aids us in making effective decisions to predict things, to make cost-effective decisions, whichever context we're working with. But okay, so within this class, we're going to be looking at two different types of statistics. Okay, so let me write that out. Um, two two types of statistics. Okay, so there's two types of statistics. One is descriptive statistics, and that is organizing and summarizing data. Two ways to summarize data are by graphing, which we will see, and by using numbers. For example, finding an average. Okay, so we'll be doing a lot of graphs and using numbers. We'll see a lot of different graphs in this chapter specifically. And using numbers, we're going to use a calculator, compute a couple of things. And one of them would be finding an average. So those are some things with descriptive statistics, and that's one of the first types of statistics we're going to be working with. And this is usually in the first half of the course. So first half of course. So yeah, a couple chapters in, we're just going to mainly be looking at descriptive statistics, okay? So the second type of statistics that we're going to be looking at is something called inferential statistics, okay? So inferential statistics is using formal methods for drawing conclusions from good data. Okay, so then this would be the second half of course. Okay. Okay, so then so what this is mainly with is just mainly using calculators to draw conclusions. Okay, so inferential statistics is later half of the class is using calculators to draw conclusions, which we'll see once we get up to chapter 6 and up, I believe so. And then descriptive statistics is mainly the first part of class, okay? Yeah, graph data and summarizing it. That's the descriptive statistics, okay? All right, so let's move forward now. So we're jumping into probability now. So just it's not a whole part about it. It's just sort of a brief statement about it. So what is probability? We'll get into probability a lot, as you could assume with statistics, but this is just telling us what probability is before we ever get to it. So what is probability? Probability is a number between 0 and 1, like inclusive. That's a key word. So um, it gives a likelihood that a specific event will occur. So with probability, probability is between 0 and 1, and it can be 0 or 1, but never less than or never greater than 1. Never less than, greater than 1. That's what that inclusive part means. Okay, so it can never be 1.1 or like 2 or like -5. It has to be between 0 and 1 or 0 and 1. Okay, so that's important about probability. Okay, so we could do a quick example. I'm just gonna make something up. So we could say something like, hey, like the probability of rain today is 10%. Okay, so probability of rain today is 10%. So that's a probability, and 10% is the same thing as you know, 0.1, which is between 0 and 1. That's kind of what the sense of what we're getting at, like between 0 and 1. And you know, in terms of kind of probability annotation we use in this class, you know, it looks something like this: probability of rain equals 0.1. Okay, so just a couple quick number. You know, we could have done something like, I'm gonna erase this. If you like the 10% part, that's okay. But just to give you guys another example, um, you know, of a different type of number, um, you know, you could say something like 15%, right? So then, you know, 15%, well, that's the same thing as 0.15. Okay, so then that's between 0 and 1, so it's a good probability, it's valid, and then the probability of rain would just be 0.15. Let me rewrite this. Let me fix this a bit, sorry. 0.15. Okay, so then just a couple examples of like probability and maybe changing the percent to a probability if that's uncomfortable with you. But you could always just divide it by 100. For example, 15%, you would just divide it by 100 and you should get 0.15. Okay, should get 0.15. But yeah, so that's it in probability for now. We'll get into a lot later, especially in chapter 3 and 4. But for right now, just to give you guys a good sense of what probability is. Okay, so moving on to key terms of statistics, which we'll get pretty comfortable with. So one of the key terms is a population. Okay, so a population is all individuals, objects, or measurements whose properties are being studied. Okay, so what does this mean? So essentially, who or what are we studying? Let me fix this. All right, who or what are we studying? Okay, so let's say, for example, let's say I want to know the average GPA of students at LMC. Okay, so let's say I want to know that. Okay, so we would say, what color should I use? We could say population equals, you could say all LMC students. The key word there is all. Whenever we're talking about a population as a whole, or we'll see in a second, like parameter, like a calculation or characteristic of a population, the key word there is always all. So if you ever see like all blank, like all students, all cars, all, you know, things like that. So that's a key indication for a pop. We're talking about population in a sense. But okay, so population all MC students, and then I'm gonna throw in another kind of example of a whole population. We could say like something like cars. Okay, maybe we could use a different color. We could say something like cars. Okay. So just one example is all LMC students, and one example is cars, just to give you guys like a couple of different senses of a population. Okay, so the next statistical term is called a sample, right? This is very big in statistics, like as we'll see later on. But the definition of sample is a subset or portion of a population being studied. Okay, so why is a sample like important? So it's important because it's hard to gather data from every student, meaning this LMC, all LMC students, it's hard to gather information from every single LMC student, right? Because you might have students who might not reply, or you have students that are registered but don't come to class, or just have students that hard to reach, things like that. So it's hard to do that. So what we would need is a sample. We would need some smaller portion of all LMC students to sort of give us an idea of what the entire population is saying. So let me finish writing this out, and then we could sort of discuss it a bit more. Let me fix this a bit. Gather. Okay. Hard to gather data from every student. Um, so gather a sample. Oops, sorry. Okay, so then let's say for this example, I choose 10 classes. I choose 10 classes from LMC. I choose 10 of these classes. So then we could say sample is LMC students. LMC students from 10 chosen classes. Okay, so sample equals LMC students from 10 chosen classes. Okay, so then for the sake of our other example, we can say, oops, sorry. We can say um, something like 30 random cars for a cars example, for that second example we're working with, okay? So, okay, so we have a sample, and so next keyword is a parameter. So a parameter always relates to a population. So I think of it as like PP and then SS. So like uh, population, parameter go together, like the two P's, and then sample and statistic go together like the two S's. So that's the way I think about it a bit. In case a little trick to help you remember is that parameter is always talking about population, and statistic is always talking about a sample. I know we haven't gotten into parameter and statistic yet, but if that helps you guys remember a bit which one goes to which, because it's easy to get confused because the definitions are quite similar. but just to help you remember a bit. But okay, so let's define parameter. So parameter is a number, average, mean, or proportion. So what is a number? So it's important to remember. That is used to represent a characteristic of a population. So we're talking about a population. Okay. Okay, so what does this mean? So an example could be, let's say we're going to take the average of average GPA of the LMC students, right? So that's something we would say. So, um, you know, average GPA of all LMC students, right? So we're finding an average and GPA of all LMC students. And let's just say that number is something like 3.6, right? Just sort of making things up, but that's what we're talking. We're talking about the average GPA of all LMC students. Parameter is a number and it's talking about the population. Okay, so that's what's going on parameter. And then okay, so now let's move on to statistic, right? So statistic is a number, same exact definition, right? It's a number. We're going to talk about average again. That represents a characteristic of the sample. So instead of the population this time, we're talking about just a sample. So if we write that out for a continued example, we would say average GPA, from LMC students from the 10 chosen classes. Okay, so then let's just say that number is 2.8 now. Okay, so like I said, population parameter, they go together, and then sample and statistic go together. So the two P's belong together, PEP, and the two S's belong together. So statistic is talking about your sample, and your parameter is talking about your population. Okay, let me just rewrite these a bit. Okay, so then those are, let's finish off this last definition on this page. There's a few more on the next page, but yeah, so representative sample, and what that is a subset of a population that has the characteristics of all the population. So like has the characteristics of the population. What that entails is that is good data. It's good data, has characteristics of the population. So nothing is being misrepresented or anything like that. So it means it's good data. So a couple of things to make sure it's good data for the sake of our example, or LMC GPA example. So an example of this is just, you can't just choose 10 science classes, right? Because if you choose 10 science classes, you choose like 5 physics classes, 3 engineering, and maybe like a, two two calculus classes, then it wouldn't really be a good representation of the sample, right? Because I'm sure the mean would be a lot higher in those classes because students are more serious and studious. And you also can't choose just regular art classes, right? Can't just choose 10 art classes because uh, maybe the grading scale is different in those classes where you can get higher grade, or maybe even the opposite, where maybe students aren't that studious in those classes. So you can't just choose like 10 from one subject or 10 from the other, right? So what this is really saying is you need variety. Okay, so maybe two science classes, two art classes, two PE classes, two English classes, things like that. Okay, so you would need variety. You can't just choose one block of subjects. Okay, so that's what a representative sample is that it reflects the entire population. So you would need classes that represent the entire LMC population. Okay, so that's yeah, that's it for representative samples. So let's move forward to a variable. Okay, so I'm not sure if many of you are from have taken much math in high school, or maybe it's been a while and you come back to school. But don't get too scared by the word variable. Like, I don't know if from algebra or anything like that. But try not to be too scared. It's just denoting stuff. Okay, so let me read through it. So a variable noted by the capital letters X and Y is a characteristic or measurement of interest for each person or object in a population. Okay, so when we talk about variable, it's important to know that you're just talking about one, like one one interest. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So for if you look down into numerical variables, takes on values that are indicated by numbers. What do I mean by that one one interest? So what I would say here with our continued example is you would say capital X equals GPA of one student from LMC. Okay, so that's what I mean by one interest. So you're just looking at the GPA of one single student for a variable. Okay, so here I'm gonna scroll up really quick, but we're talking about populations and samples, 10 classes, all students. But here for variable, what we're talking about is just the GPA of one specific student. Okay, so it could be slight broad, but that's essentially what we mean is that we're looking at one sort of data point. Okay, we'll get to data in a second, but that's what we're talking about. So numerical variables take on values that are indicated by numbers. Okay, so that's what we have for that, indicated by numbers. And so categorical variables take on values that are names or labels. So for our other example, we're working with like types of car. So what you would say for that is, type of car. Okay, so what each car is, like what type of car each car is, like Toyota, Ford, Tesla, or something like that. So that's essentially what we're talking about. So data and datum follow upon this variable is actually giving those numerical values or those names or labels that take on these variables. So what do I mean by that? So this first example with the GPA, it would, someone's GPA might be 3.5, which is really good, might be 4.0, or it might be 2.8, 2.2, 3.1, things, and so on and so forth, right? So these are all individuals' GPAs, right? And so for this categorical variable or this type of cars, yeah, like we said, we could just put Toyota, Nissan, yeah, Tesla, and Ford, and etc. Okay. Um, pause the video really quick. Okay, welcome back. So let's move on to example one. Okay, so we're going to put all these new vocabulary that we just learned now and put them all together in a couple examples, okay? So example one, a study was conducted at a local college to analyze cumulative GPAs of students who graduated last year, okay? So a couple keywords I saw there. So average cumulative GPAs of students who graduated last year. Okay, so then what this question is asking is determine the correct key phrase, population, statistic, parameter, sample, variable, and data for each of the following phrases. Okay, so we're just going to match A through G with the correct correct term that we just learned from these new vocabulary. Okay, so the first question says all students who attended the college last year. So if I look through this this example, we're talking about G GPAs of students who graduated last year. But letter A is talking about who attended the college last year. So we're not talking about anyone who graduated. We're talking about like all the students. And so this question doesn't really fit with with this with any of the key phrases because it's not talking about anyone who graduated. So what I would say is you could say none, apply, or you could say we could just essentially skip the problem, but you could also make the argument that say, hey, none apply to this. So either or is okay with me. But let's move on to letter B. And so the cumulative GPA of one student who graduated from college last year. So the key word to notice there is one student. And when we're talking about one student, we're not given an actual numerical value or or a type or anything like that. Um, so what we will do is pause the video really quick. Sorry. Okay, welcome back. So yeah, letter B, the cumulative GPA of one student who graduated from the college last year. The key word was one student, and when we're talking about one student or one specific person of interest, that'll fall into the category of a variable. We're just looking at one student or one type of car. So that would be the case for letter B. So part B will be a variable. Okay, so then let me cross this off. So C, we have a couple of numbers here, numerical values 3.65, 2.8, 1.50, 3.90, and these will fall along the lines of data. Okay, because they're just actual numerical values that relate to our variable. Okay, so these are all individual students' GPAs. Okay, so then part D, a group of students who graduated from college this year, randomly selected. So another key word there is a group of students. And we're not looking at a group of students who graduated, sorry. And we're not looking at the entire population of students who graduated. We're just looking at a specific group of students who graduated. So that group gives us a signal that we're talking about a sample. Okay. And then part E says the average cumulative GPA of students who graduated from the college last year. And so we're not talking about a group of students who graduated. We're talking about essentially all the students who graduated. And in this case, we would be talking about the population. And remember that parameter goes with population, right? And parameter and statistic or is a number, so an average or mean. So in this case, we're talking about the population and we're talking about the average. So this would be a parameter, okay, for part E. Let me cross out a couple things. Sample, variable, data, parameter. Okay, so then Part F, all students who graduated from college last year. So the keyword there is all, like with population, the keyword is always all, like all students. And when that is the case, you would use population. We're talking about the population. Okay, so then last one left is statistics. So let's read why is statistics. So the average cumulative GPA of students who graduated from the college last year. Okay, so the keyword there was in the study. That's relating to the sample up here, who were randomly selected. The group of students who graduated, and in the study means like a smaller sample size in general. So this would be statistic. Okay, so those are some of our vocabulary we just learned in real time. Okay. Um, all right, so this was sort of filling the blanks in a sense, but now we're gonna actually write out what these are in the next example. Okay, so example two, we have population, sample, parameter, statistic, variable, and data. So now we're just going to fill in, or write out what the population is. But okay, so example two says determine what the key terms refer to in the following study. We want to know the average mean amount of money first-year college students spend at ABC College on school supplies that do not include books. We randomly surveyed 100 first-year students at the college. 3 of those students spent $150, $200, and $225 respectively. Okay, so key things about this is when you write these out is you want to write out as much as you can. So write out as much, write as much as you can. So you want to write all things that can apply within each statement. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So population, we're talking about first year college students spend at ABC College on school supplies. So the population is the key word all that you want to say. So all first year college students at ABC College. Okay, so that's your population. You're looking at all first year college students. Okay. And your sample, okay, so first year college students. So I knew that we were talking about all of them. And for sample, keyword here is randomly surveyed 100 first year college students. Okay, so then let's write that out in a sentence. So it'll be 100 first year college students at ABC College. Okay, so that would be our sample. We're randomly surveying 100 first year students at the college. So our sample would be 100 first year college students at ABC College. Okay, so couple one more quick note about these is that you want to fit in like all of this, right? You want to fit in the 100 first year college students at ABC College, but the syntax and the exact statement does not have to be exactly the same. As long as you're getting all the key details in there that ABC College, first year college students, and the sample is 100. So whichever way you want to write that sentence is okay, but as long as you have those key ingredients in it. But okay, so let's finish off the rest of these. So parameter is talking about, remember parameter is about maybe average and it's relating to the population. Okay, so maybe we could write parameter population, the two P's. Okay, so my parameter B, we're talking about the average mean amount of money. Okay, so then parameter is talking about population. So what I would write here is this is one of those cases where we want to like fill out as much as we can. So you would say average amount of money spent on school supplies, not including books. Right, I'm trying to write out everything from this question I got. Um, by all first year, by all first year college students at ABC College. Okay, so I try to write as much as I can from this paragraph up here. But yeah, so population or parameters talking about population, and it's always talking about some sort of like average or mean or proportion. So average, that's a keyword that we have in here. Average amount of money spent on college supplies. And the other keyword here is all. If we're talking about the population, so it's important to say all in this statement. Okay. So now let's move on to statistic. And recall this is talking or referring to the sample. Okay, so it's the same thing as parameter. We're talking about some numerical value like average or mean or proportion. But the the main thing that's different here is we're talking about the sample. Okay, so I could rewrite the same exact statement, but just change a few keywords. So what I will say is average amount of money spent on school supplies, not including books, by 100 first year college students at ABC College. Okay. So it's essentially the same exact thing. I have my average, but the only difference here is 100. That's my sample that we're looking at. Okay. We're not looking at all of them. We're just looking at 100 first year college students that they picked. And so remember that statistic is referring to sample and parameters referring to population. Okay. Um, Same first letters mean that's what they related by that. But okay, let's finish this off. So variable, number variable is like either that X or X or capital Y. Just talking about one specific thing of interest. So what you would say here is X equals the amount of money. Oops, sorry. Amount of money one student, right? That one specific thing of interest spent on school supplies, not including books. Okay, so that keyword is one. We're just looking at that one thing of interest, right? So whenever you have a variable, say, hey, write out the variable or which one is a variable, it'll always be when it's talking about one specific thing of interest that we're looking at, that we're interested in. Okay, that one student. Okay. So then to finish this off, data, and they gave us some data like 150, 200, 250. So then for data, you could just put 150, 200, or 225. Okay. But yeah, so that's it for um, section 1.1. And this is a good introduction to statistics. A lot of key vocabulary here. So once you finish this video, please make sure to complete that self-check 1.1 quiz. It's in the week module 1 learning content. You can also find the questions here in the self-check 1.1 following section 1.1 lecture. You can find the questions here. It's more available in a reader-friendly format, and if you want to write it out with pencil or paper, you can find the questions here. But on Canvas, it's multiple choice questions. But yeah, so whichever works for you guys. It'll be like this for every section. You have the self-check questions after each section, but there will be a Canvas self-check quiz in the learning unit module. But okay, thank you guys. See you for the next lecture video.